Meet one of nature's biggest mistakes. What is the source of the most amazing facts? No, it's not historical events and neither is the human body. It's our Mother Nature. With so many components like animals and plants comprising it, the weird facts are aplenty. In this post, we'd like to show you some of the most unusual facts about animals, so be sure to remember at least one of them, just for right to brag about your knowledge. Believe it or not, the biggest mammal in the animal kingdom, the blue whale, can make a fart bubble so big that a horse could fit inside it. Although we're pretty sure that wouldn't be very nice for the horse. Also, we bet you didn't know the unbelievable fact that a female wallaby, while running from a predator, will toss her joey from her pouch to reduce her weight as well as to give her pursuer something to snack on. And did you know that an armadillo's armor is so thick that a bullet once bounced off it and hit the person who fired it? Keep watching for more weird and wonderful animal facts. They come from a website called Weird Nature, and you're sure to learn a thing or two you didn't know before. From the Loch Ness Monster of Scotland to Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest, there are multitudes of mysterious animals that have never been proven real. But mythical creatures, or cryptids as they're called, aren't always so mythical. Many animals people once believed were imaginary have since been proven real. But considering how weird-looking these are, we can't blame people for doubting their existence. From storybooks to science journals. You might think that if an animal existed, humans would know about it, but in fact, scientists are discovering new species all the time, as many as 20,000 per year by some estimates. A study in the journal PLOS Biology predicted that more than 80% of species on Earth are still awaiting discovery. So if it took naturalists a while to realize that some legendary animals were actually real, can you blame them? There's a lot of life out there, and some of it is pretty bizarre. Narwhal. In the Middle Ages through the Renaissance, unicorn horn was all the rage. It turns out, however, that the twisting conical objects were actually the tusks of narwhals, an Arctic whale hunted by Vikings who sold their tusks at astronomical prices, and conveniently failed to mention the animal they came from. In 1577, the English explorer Martin Frobisher led a Canadian expedition where he happened upon a dead narwhal, which he called a sea unicorn. He later presented the tusk to the queen. Rhinoceros. The modern image of the unicorn is sleek and majestic like a stallion, but that's not exactly the picture Pliny the Elder painted when he wrote about them in the 1st century AD. It has the head of a stag, the feet of an elephant, and the tail of a boar. It makes a deep sound in lowing and has a single black horn which projects from the middle of its forehead. It also hailed from India. Sound familiar? Platypus. Some animals are so weird that seeing them in the flesh isn't enough to convince you they're real. In 1798, Captain John Hunter of the Royal Navy sent a platypus pelt and a sketch of the animal back to Britain from his travels in Australia. But European naturalists didn't believe that such a creature could exist. Even when George Shaw finally described the animal in scientific literature, he was apologetic. A degree of skepticism is not only pardonable but laudable, and I ought to perhaps acknowledge that I almost doubt the testimony of my own eyes. Gorilla. What if someone told you that a dark, hairy, human-like creature with 10 times the strength of a human lurked in the wilderness of a faraway land? Well, you'd think Bigfoot, but millennia ago, people hadn't caught on to that legend. As far back as the 5th century BCE, explorers were telling tales of human-like monsters visiting their camps. It wasn't until 1847 that scientists officially identified the species. Yes, when the gorilla was discovered, photography had already been invented. Giant squid. No talk of cryptids would be complete without mentioning sea monsters. The Greeks had a 6-headed sea goddess named Scylla, cultures in the Bahamas had the half-shark, half-octopus called the Lusca, and who could forget the Nordic legend of the Kraken, which was even described as recently as the 18th century in Europe's first modern scientific surveys of the natural world. The creature was finally described as a giant squid by Norwegian naturalist Japetus Steenstrup in 1853. We may have brought these animals from the realm of myth into the purview of science, but what about the other myths still out there? Logic says that you can't prove a negative. Although we have satellite imagery, wireless video, and other cutting-edge technology, we keep finding animals we've never seen before. So who knows, maybe Bigfoot will be next. Eye. These bizarre primates are most easily recognized by their enormous eyes and long spindly fingers, both of which allow this animal to easily inhabit treetops at night. Cape rain frog. This animal's rotund shape allows it to inflate itself with air and puff up when danger comes near. Cassowary. Don't let the feathery exterior fool you. This giant bird is known to be notoriously aggressive, eviscerating any creature that comes too close with its dagger-like talons. Tree kangaroo. Not all animals from Australia are killers. Case in point, the tree kangaroo, which looks more like a stuffed animal than a living, breathing creature. Tufted deer. This deer's striking tusks may raise some eyebrows, especially considering that it's a herbivore. Male tufted deer actually use their fangs to resolve territorial disputes with their own kind in lieu of antlers. What animal was the most interesting or bizarre for you? Comment below, like the video, and subscribe to the channel to see more.